Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be going over the FM9, the premium upper right here with the Trilug adapter. Now, if you don't know what a Trilug adapter is, it's that thing right there on the front, that little triple nipple of love right there. So it is milled into the barrel to make it very easy to attach your Trilug suppressor to right out of the box, no muzzle device needed. Now, this is not my first go around with Foxtrot mic. Brownell sent me this one some time ago. This is their Zukov side folding and side charging FM15, which is actually really cool. Had a good time with this. I will link that video down below if you're interested in something like that. But back to this new version right here. So what's the difference between this? This one takes Glock mags, it has last round bolt lock, and it has the Trilug. Has some other good options into this thing if you're looking to get into a PCC. Well, let's take a good look at this and talk about the differences in here, what we've got on this, talk about the specs. Then we'll go over that range footage, talk about the price, and then we're going to compare this to a few others I have so you can kind of make up your mind should you be in the market for like an AR9. All right, let's go over the FM9 up close and the options that it has. So this one, like I said, is the Trilug version. We'll go from buttstock to business end. But we want to clear up something real quick. Takes Glock mags, and it does have that last round bolt lock right there. So no need to worry about that. Has the same kind of manual of arms as your standard stuff. On the back end here, you're gonna get likely an SBA3 on that tube. They have a couple of other options. I have my own personal brace on this one with that flatline fiber stuff right there. Love that stuff. I have that linked at my webpage. That's all pretty standard stuff, standard castle nut, all that good stuff. It's not staked or anything right there, but kind of wouldn't expect that out of an AR9, but hey, it does have an ambi charging handle right there. Good stuff on that. Very easy, nice to work from both sides. Good texture, pretty much everything you would expect. Mission first tactical grip right there. They're pretty good, they're not bad, not my favorite. You got an ambi safety. You'll have a nicely knurled and textured bolt lock bolt release right there. Pretty standard looking lower integral trigger guard right there with that FM logo on it. You do have that mag release right there, a removable brass deflector, and that is polymer, so that's not metal, kind of interesting. No dust cover right there, standard 1913 rail across the chop. We do have a good locking lug engagement right there, you can see on that. So that is not gonna move. That's a lot of engagement up there. And then screws into the barrel nut right there with a total of 8 different good sized screws. I don't know exactly what size they are because I didn't pull them out, but you can see right there, they are good quality. The YFS screws are known for being good stuff. Barrel in it is a 1 in 10 9mm with that Trilug, or the triple nipple of love for your suppressor. This is the 7-inch model because that is milled out of the barrel itself. So good to go right there. As far as the breakdown on this, it's going to be standard. So there's a little bit of wiggle, you can kind of see it right there, but not much, not bad, and you have that tension screw. So let's talk about all those detailed specs that some of you need. Well, those are the basics, but for those of you that need the detailed specs, here's that elevator music with all the stuff you need. Well, how did this thing run out on the range? The ammo that I tried through it, tried some 115, 124 grain, some self-defense stuff, but mostly just basic ball ammo out there. And that's pretty much what I expect. Multiple different Foxtrot mics products in that 9mm variant. Now this one is a direct blowback system, so it's gonna feel like a direct blowback system. It's not gonna give you that kind of roller delayed feeling or that delayed blowback feeling like, say, the CMMG Banshee right there would, but still very controllable. Just feels a little bit different than some of the other things out there on the market, but still, it's a 9mm out of something you're holding on to with 2 hands, not gonna be difficult to control. And I tested a bunch of different mags with this. I tried factory Glock mags with extension, I tried the ETS mags, I tried the Magpul mags. I didn't have any problems with any of the magazines there. Even the really, really old mags I have, I think that one ETS mag was like 3 years old. And it has an extension on. So I didn't have a single problem, even with inducing those different style magazines than the factory ones, and putting mags that had extensions on them with weaker springs at this point. So overall, they're happy to say no problems. And the last round bolt lock worked with all of those different magazines. Didn't even lock back on that last round. So the fact that it worked with all of them, definitely pretty cool. So overall, it ran great and it's just a ton of fun. And these things are so much cheaper to go out there and train with and have fun with, or get new people into the game, being that it's 9mm instead of 5.56 or 223, because if you haven't been paying attention to the prices of ammo, it is still pretty ugly. Talking about the overall feel of it, it's nice. It's got the mission first grip, so much less aggressive angle there. This is my own SBA4 here. You can get it with an SBA3 or I think a couple of other different options we'll talk about here in a minute. But overall, the build quality on it feels good. There is a little bit of movement, okay, in that upper receiver, just a tiny bit, but there is that tension screw design under the pistol grip right here. So you can tighten that up, but I really want to just kind of show you what that was like here. So very little bit, minimal, but you can tighten that up. But say you're a person that already has something and you don't have the ability to have that tension screw in there, I've got an option for that as well. There's these little grommets. I will link them at the build list. They're pretty cool, but they help out a ton if you've got a sloppy old loose receiver set of pretty much any kind, as long as it is a mil-spec style AR. Overall, I'm happy with the range performance of the FM9 here in the 7-inch Trilug ready barrel PCC here. Pretty cool design, but let's talk about the price on this thing, the why, some of the other options that are comparatively out there in the market, just in case you're out there looking for something like this. Now, normally for me, when somebody says why when it comes to something like this, or an AR9 or a PCC, or even something this short, I would generally say, why not? If it's there and you want it, go for it. But there are some advantages here. So these make great backpack rigs, okay? If you've got a bag, you carry this around with you. Say you're out hunting, fishing, camping, you want to have something a little bit more than a pistol on you. These can be pretty cool. It's also a ton cheaper to train with. Get your kids out there, your friends out there, newer people, kind of break them in on something a little bit less angry than a 5.56, even though 5.56 223 is not really angry, but it can be perceived that way as compared to something like a 9mm coming out of a 7-inch barrel. You've also got a little bit more control. You've got more points of contact here. You're able to stabilize this better. You can get better shots, further distances, if that is something you're looking for as well. And finally, since the manual of arms on this is the same as your standard rifle, it's good to train with. What do I mean by that? So the bolt release, bolt lock, magazine release, charging handle, everything on this, besides the feel of the magazines and everything, is the same as your standard rifle. So you can get out there, train, keep your skills highly tuned, as I know you all do, and spend a lot less money. Like probably, I think per 1,000 rounds, about a third the money per 1,000 rounds on the 9mm is compared to 5.56 or 223. Now the cost on this one is right around $600. Like I said, I'll have links for this all at my website, so you can check that stuff out, but that's not bad. I know there's some a lot more expensive, and I know there are some cheaper than that, but it does have some cool options, be it the Trilug barrel, ambi charging handle, ambi safety, and overall a pretty good build quality there. Standard mil-spec trigger, but you can live with that unless you're really looking for something high-end. So not bad. Now we talk about this in the market relative to its peers and some other things like it out there already. And first, let's compare it to my CMMG Banshee. I love this thing, it's amazing. Set up very similarly, ambi safety, ambi charging handle. This is my own muzzle device, relatively similar barrel here, but it takes an AR9 style mag that takes a P mag, puts different guts in it, and then shoots 9mm, but you can get them in the same Glock configuration. And this one's very nice, but it's about $1,600 depending on the day. Without this muzzle device on it, with a standard muzzle on there, $1,600. So that's a lot of money. So $1,600 cash money American hard earned is about 3 times as much as that one, maybe a little bit less. So like 2.5, 2 3/4 times as much money. But overall, really awesome setup here. Getting into something a little bit cheaper, but still has a pretty cool operating system. Let's talk about this one, the Stribog right here, the SP9A3. So this is a delayed blowback system, side charging, but still has AR-ish style stuff going on. Takes the standard Glock mags in there as well. Side folding on here, but another pistol caliber kind of thing going on here. But these ones, the A1, I want to say is around $800 right now. And then I think this one as equipped is about $1,200 with that folding brace. So again, very cool, but still a few $100s more at least. And the last thing we will kind of compare it to is going to be the Psa Ak V9. So this thing is awesome, but totally different operating system, right? So this one based on the AK, where my AK lovers at, let me know in the comments, but still very cool. And these ones are, I want to say they're right at a grand now, like $950 or something, but still really good stuff here, really cool in that 9mm caliber. And if you're an AK guy, that might be the way to go. Whereas all of the other ones we talked about, you know, standard AR kind of guy, you might want to go that direction. Even that street bug, but still, those are your kind of variances in there. And I know PSA's got some out there. They're in that like 550, 600 category as well, but these are your other comparative options. And then PSA is kind of right in that same level. I just don't have one here to show you. Now, if you want to step it up into the big boy land and spend a few thousand, maybe up to about $4,000 or $5,000, you can get the MP5s, you can get some of the B&T stuff, you can get some of the SIG stuff, but you're talking really, you know, 3, 4, 5 times the price, even at the base model. I think the B&Ts are like $2,800. Some of the SIG stuff is about $25, $26 as well. So we're keeping this in a category where most of us can afford it, but there are other big boy options out there if you've just got money to blow. Your other option, one of the most budget friendly, is getting something like that MCK conversion kit, because you take your existing pistol, if they make one for that brand, you jam it in there and you can go to work with it. But that kind of presents its own issues by the way it kind of works. It's completely different. It doesn't really keep you in the same line. So if you want to go one direction and just stick with your pistol, that's actually a really good option. But if you want something kind of more standardized to your typical rifle or pistol that you already have in that style of configuration, this is where that option comes into play. So knowing all that and having played with all of those other ones and plenty more out at range events and stuff, is the FM9 specifically in this version a good deal? And well, I don't know. $600 cash money American, like I said, pretty cool. You do get that, I think what's gonna be known now as the triple nipple of love for your suppressor up there. But it's a decision you have to make. So comparing it to all of the different stuff out there in the market, it gives you another option. And options are good because options provide opportunities to get what you want and get what you were actually looking for. That is what I've got for you today, and what I think is now going to be forever known as the Triple Nipple 9 from Foxtrot Mic Products. But make sure you guys get subbed up. Leave me a comment down below on what your favorite PCC is, or if you think the PCC thing is kind of dying off, because it almost seems like that to me. They don't seem to be as popular as they once were. So leave me a comment, let me know that stuff down below. You guys get out there, have some fun on the range. Remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I will see you all on the next one.